we get the opportunity to change entire family trees. And I think when you think about that, like just somebody coming to get an education and how that not only changes their life story, but the life story of their children and their children and their children, it's like, man, this is why we do what we do.
Today's conversation is about something we don't talk about enough in enrollment management. What does leadership look like when your team is navigating disruption and uncertainty, but the enrollment cycle keeps moving forward? I'm joined by Ashley Miller, the Associate Vice President of Enrollment Management at Old Dominion University. Ashley and the team at Old Dominion hosted an admitted student day this spring that welcomed more than 3,300 students and guests, which was a major increase from the previous year, and they've got some great enrollment results for fall 2026. But what makes this story especially powerful is the context surrounding the event, because the Old Dominion community was a campus in recovery at the time, and the admissions team had faced many out-of-the-ordinary challenges in this cycle. Ashley and her team had to navigate difficult conversations about whether to continue the event at all, while balancing care for each other and the reality that enrollment work is difficult to pause. Ashley, I really appreciate your willingness to share this story, because I think so many enrollment leaders are carrying heavy things behind the scenes while also trying to show up for students and for their team. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, well, thank you, Allison, for having me. I'm excited for the conversation today.
To start us off, I thought I'd ask more of a quick question. What was a moment from this year's Admitted Students Day that we're going to get into more detail on, but I want to know what's a moment that you had that made you think, okay, we totally made the right decision to move forward with this event?
I think it was right after the welcome ended. We did something different this year. Everyone had confetti wands. So as they walked in, they're not only the student, but the guests that they brought. And so at the very end, before we set them across campus, they set off those confetti wands, and there was just tons of confetti that covered the Arch Way Arena. And I think just seeing that moment and seeing the smiles on all the faces of the families and the students of like this moment of celebration, I mean, it gave myself and the team just chills. And I think that was just a reaffirming moment for all of us. And on top of that, once everyone left Chartway, we did like confetti, snow angels on the floor. So that was also just kind of a fun thing that I think we all needed to do that we just, didn't get a chance to do unless we did something like that. So that was just a fun way to celebrate.
I love that. And I got to give a shout out to the custodial staff on that too, because my dad was a custodian at a college for me growing up. So it's a team effort when we do these extra fun moments at our acceptance student days, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Shout out to all of our housekeeping staff, custodial staff. Yes, thank you for the cleanup on that one.
You started us off with sort of what the welcome looked like, but tell us about some of the new strategies and experiences that you all introduced this year that increased engagement and attendance for your event.
Yeah, we did a lot of new things this year. I think we were just in this mode of let's try it and see what happens. We actually added some different events throughout the year. We, in the past, had scholars reception. So for those students who had high GPAs and were getting merit scholarship awards from the university, we usually had a little bit more smaller, more intimate kind of gatherings in the past. But we really wanted to up our game, class it up, I think, a little bit more. So we even sent printed invitations in the mail to those students, which I know sometimes people say print's dead. But it's not.
I'm with you. No, it's maybe print only is dead.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it makes a world of difference. And they were beautifully done. We just had hired this creative designer in our team. They actually looked almost like wedding invites, quite frankly. And I saw so many parents and students carry them in to the event. And so that was something new that we did to just create, I think, more of a special experience, for those students who had a scholarship. We also did something different. We partnered with athletics, and we did a basketball game and hosted students in one of the suites there, and on Valentine's Day of all days. So we kind of had a love for basketball theme. So I think we were just really trying to get more creative on what we were doing. Of course, we have our bread and butter open houses and Admitted Students Day, which I know we'll talk more about. But I think we were just trying to think really outside the box and understand that we have all types of students that we're serving. So we don't just need to do one type of event. We can do many types of smaller events and really serve a wide variety of students that way.
Yeah, because there's different types of events that make sense for different types of students, right? There might be some
Yeah.
students that feel coming to a big event like that, that's too overwhelming for them, and they really need a individualized custom day at a campus. So I think offering a variety is a really key strategy.
Yeah, yeah. And that more one-on-one conversation goes a long way. Like if they can connect with a faculty member or a dean or a staff member, like just that ability to know somebody, put a face to a name, that can make all the difference in the world to that student coming to the university.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, those larger events bring a energy that you can't replicate
Yes.
otherwise. So you really have to have those different elements and different offerings for your accepted students. So your attendance jumped significantly from roughly 2,500 attendees last year to over 3,300 this year. What do you think drove that growth? I know you mentioned the invitations, but we all know that the invitation is sort of the last step in a long engagement that you've had with students that's been teed up for them to say yes to come to that event.
Yes,
So
yes.
what are some of the things that contributed to such a great audience for you this year?
Yeah. And yeah, those invitations earlier, those were specifically for those smaller scholarship receptions. But I think for that larger kind of admitted students day, there's a couple things that I think about. I think one, a good reminder for us in enrollment management is the work to get to that day doesn't just happen in this past cycle or the past few months. Like this is 18 months to 2 years worth of work of courting this class, so to speak, and working this relationship. And I think sometimes that's a little sometimes hard to convey to campus, right? It's like, no, we've been working this audience since they were sophomores or maybe even freshmen. Something that happened when I first started about 2.5 years ago, is we didn't have an enrollment marketing area ourselves. And so we built that up. It started with one person in June of 2024. And now we have 6 people in that staff. And I think really starting to take more of those materials in-house, owning that messaging, owning that process, I think that's made a bit of difference, because when we manage the message and we can, I think, do things quicker in a more nimble fashion, I think then that allows us to be more creative and meet students where they are in their journey. So I think it was just a matter of having really good marketing, really good messaging. I think our outreach and admissions team was doing a phenomenal job of really just following up with our students. We did have a few more new admissions counselors that we added to the mix. We had some more regional folks that we didn't have before. So I think we were just also getting into some areas and territories that we just didn't have a presence in. And we saw that in the data. We had a lot of out of state people. I was talking to people from New Jersey and Connecticut. And, 2 years ago when I started, I never thought that we would have kind of that more out of state presence. So it was incredible to see that we were getting that kind of reach, and that just people wanted to be on campus. It was wonderful.
I think there's a lot of jealous people listening right now about how you've been able to build out the enrollment marketing team. And I'm sure a lot of head nodding too about this. This takes 2 to 3 years, these things.
Yes.
You don't just drop a new admissions counselor in the fall into New Jersey and now you're getting New Jersey people in the spring. This is an effort that requires time. And also the marketing behind it. It's not just that you have a regional counselor there. This sort of holistic strategy that you all took, and clearly it's paying off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a group effort. It takes everybody. It takes a village, for sure.
It definitely does. Well, you mentioned some of the new messaging and new communications. Is there anything that you learned this cycle about messages that were really resonating, or maybe some behavior changes that you were seeing among students and parents as they were responding to your communications?
I think something that we did a little differently, especially when we talk about that out-of-state audience, a lot of people may not know anything about Norfolk.
Yeah.
And
They're starting
so-
from more of a blank slate.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think we were also looking at it as, how do we just sell the region? How do we just even tell them about what Norfolk is all about? And so we were really trying to do more of that work, talk about, great restaurants and great things to do, within the city, even if you're not explicitly saying, hey, please come to Old Dominion University. I think just the ways that Old Dominion University has a presence and partnerships, in the city, I think shows our value within the community. So we were trying to think, also work with our partners and central marketing on more kind of earned media opportunities, I think is important. And we're seeing that too in a lot of our materials. I mean, we have a beautiful campus. Everyone, I think, can say that, right? They're all going to say we have a beautiful campus, but we have a beach on our campus, and so I do feel like
Hard
that
to
makes
beat that,
us,
Ashley. Hard to beat that.
you know,
Yeah,
I
I'd
do
be
feel like,
putting that
yeah.
on the front page of everything if I had a beach.
And I don't feel like we sell that enough. So I think we've leaned into that a little bit
Nice.
more. And,
Yeah.
and going back to the events, we're actually doing kind of a summer junior open house, which we haven't done in the past. And it's going to be very much more beach barbecue kind of theme, just like, hey, come visit, a little bit more informal than I think what we've done in the past, and just a good opportunity to get to know us in a very easy way.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love the different opportunities. And yeah, you can't wait until admitted student days to make a class.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that you're leaning into, it's not that you're leaning into the beaches, like you're saying that this is a important message for Old Dominion. What it is you're recognizing your audience and what your audience needs to understand about Old Dominion, and leveraging those pieces. So, because I could just picture, I'm sure that there's some faculty around or some other people who are like, how are you not talking about the challenging academics or the academic rigor or the mission or this? And you're leading with the beach, right? Well, the beach is a door opener. All right. We're going to get to all the other stuff.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, you're exactly right. And that is all the other great messaging that we have, once I think we hook them. I mean, we are an R1 institution. We just integrated with a medical school. We have over 200 programs here. I mean, we're home to the largest naval base in the world. I mean, there's so much here that students can learn and benefit from. And so many great messages that we have a great story to tell, quite frankly, here at ODU.
I think it's a challenge, though, for a lot of schools, this decision between, you get torn over all those amazing things that you want to say. It's really hard to hold back almost. And I think that's something not everyone understands. It's hard for us to hold back about all the things we're proud of and that we want to say about the university where we work, right? And that we want to tell students about. But we also need that hook. We also need that opener, which, by the way, is different for different groups of students, different segments of students, of course. But we can't say everything out of the gate. And I think that is one of our challenges. And it's one of the hardest decisions to make in these roles.
Oh, yeah. And it's not going to be, like you said, like the same message for everybody. And so knowing kind of how to segment appropriately or what to lean in more for this group or kind of take back for somebody else. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of marketing, and also I think the challenge within it as well. It's what makes the job fun, but it's also what makes it extremely hard some days.
Well, and it is an extremely hard job, and it was extra challenging for all of you at Old Dominion this year. So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, knowing what you were going through, you were having conversations about canceling an admitted student event altogether because of that emotional weight that your campus community was carrying. Tell us a bit about what those conversations were like, and what did you learn about balancing empathy for your team and your community while also maintaining that momentum and that accountability that is ours to hold when we're in these enrollment positions.
Yeah, those were extremely tough conversations, because, right, you want to be there for your team, you want to listen, you want to support. As a leader, I think my leadership was definitely challenged, within that time.
Anybody's would be, Ashley.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that.
Anybody's would be. Yeah.
Because I think, too, as you think about the wanting to be empathetic and putting yourself in the shoes of what they're feeling, you most certainly can do that. But that also doesn't mean that you can solve everything in that moment, right? And you want to sometimes, right? And I feel like this is a conversation like sometimes have with my husband. He always asks me, like, do you want support or do you want solutions? And I think that was definitely part of the rub, is some staff just wanted the support, some wanted solutions, some wanted both. And sometimes we didn't have the answers to anything and everything, but we still had to figure out how to ensure that we were going to do what was expected of us in our roles and our responsibilities, and see the larger picture at the end of the day too. I mean, obviously, enrollment cycles are challenging for a number of different reasons, but certainly this was a tough one, and so we made sure that we were open and honest in our communication. I think getting back to our why of what we do, really thinking about who is this for, right? It's not for us. It's not for the staff. It's not for the faculty. It's for those incoming students who are really super excited about their future, and those parents who are really excited and supportive of what that next step will be for a student who may be a first generation student. And I think about something that one of my colleagues across campus says when we talk about really like the why behind this work. He always has this great quote, and he says, we get the opportunity to change entire family trees. And I think when you think about that, like just somebody coming to get an education and how that not only changes their life story, but the life story of their children and their children and their children, it's like, man, this is why we do what we do. And so getting back to that, I think helped, but there were definitely some tough moments along the way of, are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to get through it? But, thankfully we did. And I think we also had some good learnings in terms of, okay, we need to make sure we have some backup plans, some support, some plan Bs, not just for, what we went through, but just if somebody gets sick or if this happens. I mean, it opened our eyes that maybe we weren't thinking of some of those things that maybe we should be thinking of anyway.
Yeah. There's flexibility is necessary, whether something big is happening or not. You never know.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll confess to everyone right now, just to give everyone a little laugh. I went to the gym before an accepted student day last year and dropped a weight on my face and was not able to attend accepted student day because my whole face was swollen and bruised. So yeah, you really never know. I'm very clumsy, by the way. I'm very clumsy. So this is the team was not necessarily surprised, I would say, that I dropped a weight on my face, but I did. And so, yeah, you just never know, right? So they had to pivot. They had, which I hate that word. They had to be flexible and make some changes because of the different roles I was playing in the program that day, which they did. It got figured out, but anything can happen, big or small. And this was definitely on the small side. Going back to the first question I asked about that moment where you realized, yes, this was the right decision to move forward. It sounds like actually holding the event and moving forward with it was actually helpful in healing and reestablishing the why. Does that sound right?
Yes, absolutely. I think once the day was going on and you're talking to students and you're hearing again the excitement in their voice and you're just seeing it and you're seeing the volume. I think too, like we had a lot of people registered, but as you know, you never know how the show rates are going to shake out.
Never.
Right. And I think
one of the most unpredictable things, I would say,
right.
in enrollment is show rate for events.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as the numbers were climbing, we were like, gosh, do we shut this off? What do we do? And we're like, well, to your point, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's just roll with it. And man, when the people were coming in, we're like, oh, this is happening.
Yes.
This is great. So yeah, I think we needed it. We needed it as a team and we needed it as a campus. Yeah.
I think that's a good thing for people to remember. If you're listening and maybe something hasn't happened to your campus, like what you all have dealt with, or maybe it has, but that might be a great lesson for people to take away. In the right moment, it is okay to move forward. And in moving forward, it can be helpful in the healing process. Any final pieces of advice that you would give to enrollment leaders who might be navigating challenging times, above and beyond the challenges that we already have on our plates every day? Any advice, any lessons learned from your perspective that you would like to share to help people be effective leaders?
I learned a lot, along the way, certainly through this process. I think we, as enrollment leaders, we learn a lot anyway, every cycle, which is great. But
whether we want to or not, there's always something to learn.
There's a great quote. Dave Chappelle actually said it, and I don't know what his source is, but it's something to the effect of sometimes you have to be the lion so you can be the lamb you really are. And there were just moments, throughout this process where you have to make the tough call. You have to make the decision. You have to do the unpopular thing.
Yeah.
Because it is the thing you have to do. It's the right thing you have to do in the moment. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people know that. Like, I'm sure this isn't, some epiphany, but
maybe validating whether it's something know, but in the moment it's hard to do.
Right.
So validation that it's okay to do. Make the tough decision.
Yeah. So sometimes I always think of like those images that go around on like social media, like what's the difference between a leader and a boss? And of course, you always want to be the leader, but honestly, sometimes you just got to be the boss. And I
Yeah.
think that was just that moment of, hey, I'm just gonna have to be the boss this time around, and we're just gonna have to really lean into this. And so I think that was a lesson learned. But I think the beauty that of higher education just overall is this incredible network that we have. And so even as I was navigating this entire cycle, because our welcome center also caught on fire back in December, like I didn't mention that. That was another kind of just crazy element that happened to us. It was so great to be able to call mentors and call friends and call other people. It just, again, people who maybe hadn't experienced it themselves, but had been through leadership challenges and say, man, how do I navigate this? Or how do I handle this conversation? And so I think that's the wonderful thing about higher education is it's such a supportive network. And anyone I call or text, they pick up, they answer, they respond. And so I would just encourage other leaders, just lean on your network, make that phone call, ask for help, and somebody will definitely give you that yes and help you along the way.
I love that. I almost want to end on that, but I have a couple lightning round questions that I really
Oh,
want to finish up
okay.
at. All right. One admitted student event tactic that every institution should steal.
Confetti wands.
I love it. Most underrated enrollment leadership skill.
Just having tough conversations.
A small gesture that had a big impact on your team this spring.
I think just people recognizing that, what we did this year compared to what we did last year, and just not just the volume of people who came to campus, like, great, that's awesome, but just the way that we elevated everything that we did, and people just kind of going, wow, that was incredible. I think this was the best one yet. Like, I think that's what makes us feel good at the end of the day.
Well, and I want to give you all props because all the things that led to that. Too.
Yeah.
It
Right.
wasn't just that you changed the event strategy and the event experience itself. It was all of those things that you did to build to that. So really kudos to all of you. And one last question. One thing you're rethinking about strategy for next year?
Oh, I think just more. I think bigger and better, honestly. I think it's just, how can we just do it more and do it better? So we're excited for next year. And I think the nice thing is we have a campus also that's really excited, and leadership that's incredibly supportive and excited. And that is something that I know we just had a debrief actually about the full event and talking about next year. And we've been reassured that, hey, you're going to get the support of all of campus. This is going to be an all campus wide event, as it should be. I think that's just nice when enrollment is a team sport, because it takes everybody. And when the campus is involved, then it makes everything that much better.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you so much for sharing so openly in this conversation. It's been a really important reminder that enrollment leadership, it's so much more than funnels and forecast, right? It's really easy to get stuck in the enrollment funnel, but we're talking about people and care and resilience of the team and how we help our teams move forward during incredibly difficult moments. So really, thank you for sharing this story. And congratulations to all of you at Old Dominion on creating such a meaningful and successful event, and on your success for the fall 2026 class.
Oh, well, Allison, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation today.
And if you're listening and you enjoyed this episode of The Application, be sure to subscribe, share it with a colleague, and leave us a review. We'll see you next time.